Wizards of the Coast made it a very exciting weekend for Magic the Gathering players by announcing the 2024 lineup for Magic the Gathering products. In today's video, we will discuss the highlights for these products as well as some of the pitfalls on the financial side that players need to know about. Like any good company, Wizards of the Coast will be looking at the past to try to minimize mistakes. They'll look at trends that are in the present, and of course they'll bring those trends into the future, hoping to offer something to players and also something that they can make a lot of money off of. And in between all that, there will be gaps where players can capitalize, save themselves some money by buying cards before they spike or doing deck construction ideas ahead of time based on the information we have in today's video. Welcome back, everyone. MTG Moxman here, and thanks again for hanging out with me on my channel today. If you enjoyed today's content, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Turn on your notification bells as I do upload daily content each and every day. And of course, drop some comments down in the comments section. Guys, it's great to have this conversation of Magic with you each and every day. Now, on the serious side, this is a lot of information to go through today. I took notes and everything. The 2024 line for Magic the Gathering looks really exciting. There's a lot of stuff going on there, a lot to unpack. It may not be for every player, but there's still a lot to go through to give you guys the best information that I could think of at the time. Now, they also delved a little bit into 2025 and 2026. I'm not going to touch on those too much today unless it just comes up as part of the conversation. We are going to start today's conversation with Ravnica Remastered. Now, we've had two previous remastered products. We had the Time Spiral Remaster block, and that actually went off pretty good. They had very limited supply at the time as a first time doing a product, so the prices for the sealed boxes held up very well. The individual cards, not so much. The retro frame, the artifacts and stuff like Chalice the Void, they were kind of hard to get inside those boxes. They were beautiful, they were nice. The box, by the way, great design. Loved how they did it. But those boxes only held up overall because of the limited supply. Now you jump a couple years forward and we look at Dominaria Remastered. They learned their lessons, and in this case, they overdid it. So they overprinted this product. It ended up in an Amazon dump. So something that should have been successful on the 30th anniversary and focusing on Dominaria, it really fell flat in the long run. Okay, and that means those Amazon dumps brought the prices down, and players may have enjoyed the idea of the product, but not the price point. The collector boxes totally did not sell well after the first couple of days. So you can expect Wizards of the Coast to take those ideas forward and bring them something new with Ravnica Remastered. When I look at this product, there's a couple of things I'm thinking about. Number one, we know Shocklands are back. It was in the video they showed us that there'll be some retro frame ones. We don't know how often they're being placed. We saw it at Rarity, so we know it's going to be a rare one, not a mythic. And players do want Shocklands back. I know a lot of players are kind of excited for the idea of Shocklands coming back, even if it's in a remastered product. But remember, it'll be a higher price point at the beginning. They're not going to price this as a regular box. So if you're a player saying, oh, I'm going to get like 4 or 5 of them in a box, that may be possible, but you're paying $280 Canadian to get it, maybe even higher. We don't know what their prices are going to be for these products. And right now they're skimming the water to see how players feel about these ideas. Trust me, they're looking at all the boards and information to see where we, the players, are feeling about these products, even content creators. Now, the thing I find funny is in the original Ravnica, doubling season, right? So doubling season will come back around probably in this product because it's one of the most expensive cards they have to offer that players might be interested in. A lot of the other cards from Ravnica Legions, Ravnica, Return to Ravnica, those cards really didn't hold up that well in value-wise. So they have to put a card like that in the block. So we're going to have it twice this year and once next year. Either way, if you're a player willing to wait a while, you can save some money on something like doubling season coming around. And if you're a player looking for those Shocklands, I don't think the price is going to change that much because I think at a higher price point, less players will be buying that product. So I think we'll find a middle ground there. But if it hits big and if they do something special with it, who knows? All bets are off. So something to keep in mind. I'm just kind of curious to see if they've learned a lesson in between those two sets. Right, between the original Time Spiral where it was too tight and Dominaria Remastered was overprinted. It'll be interesting to see how they play it out. Next up is Murder at Karlov Manor. Now this one I find very interesting as well. They're taking the IP Clue, which is a board game that Hasbro owns, mixing it with a Magic set, setting it on Ravnica. Depending on what mechanics are involved and how they put this set together, it could be a really exciting time for players. I can't wait to get more information about this set and see how they're actually putting it together. But it looks like it could be a very well-received mechanic set if they add a unique mechanic that players can really use in other formats. So I don't have a lot to say on this one until we see more of it. I want to see the breakdown, the cards, the spoilers. This one here at least has enough interest for me as a person looking at the game, saying there could be something here. It's something new they're trying. I like things that are spicy like this, so maybe it's got something to draw players in. Now for our next one here, we've got Fallout. This is big. Okay, as a person who played the original Fallout and played some of the subsequent series of it, this is going to be exciting for a lot of players. I can see how they've taken things like Warhammer 40k in that direction. So an idea that like Fallout could really play well for players. It really could be an exciting time. If you're a fan of that series, being able to play it in Magic, it just, I mean, I shouldn't be that surprised. I mean, they tried I didn't really mention in today's video, they're doing the Jurassic Park thing with the dinosaurs on some secret layer drops. That, I'm not really going to mention that much because I'm not a secret layer guy, but for this here, there could be something here that really draws a lot of players in and maybe brings Magic to a new audience, which is what they're trying to do, taking those trends now and IPs that they can get their hands on and bring it into a Magic set. So I'm really excited to see how they put these Commander decks together. I wonder the price point, of course, because we won't know that for a while, but this could be really exciting. This could have a lot of players diving in saying, Fallout! And I can't help it. I mean, as a player who played the game, this is the stuff that interests you, right? I mean, if they did an Army of Darkness one, you guys know I would be all over right now. I'd be freaking out. So great on them to do something like this. Now, Modern Horizons 3. I don't even need notes for this. This is going to be crazy. Modern Horizons 3 has me a little bit scared. It's very exciting. We loved Modern Horizons 2. I mean, remember how many times you got fetch lands inside those boxes? Crazy. Now, again, they've taken things from the past, the present, bringing it forward. They realized the nostalgia played well in that set. They gave us a lot of good cards and good card mechanics brought back, as well as new cards being spiced into the set. But remember, this will be the premium product price. This is a product that's going to be probably over $600 Canadian for a collector box. It was $5.99 last time, so I would expect $6.49, $6.50. They're going to push the upper limits, and that will bother and irk a lot of players. That'll get some frustration. But let's take a look at what they could possibly put in there. We know they gave us Yavimaya, Cradle of Growth. Imagine they continue that land cycle, which I'm really hoping for. Imagine, now I don't think they'd add the blue one in, but they could add, we've already got the black, and of course we got the green. So what happens if they add a white one? What happens if they add red? And they start getting closer to completing that entire land cycle of all your lands counting as other lands? That would be so exciting for me, and that's something I would look forward to in a product like this, to see what the spoilers would bring and what new card ideas they're putting in. Really has me going. I know a lot of people bought this set, they really loved it, enjoyed it. So it has the name, it's got that styling behind it that players like, oh man, Modern Horizons 3, this is gonna be pretty exciting. I can get behind all that. I will worry about the pricing and the structure later. Let's see what they offer us in an exciting set like this. Something that we have already had, Modern Horizons. Remember when we had Sarah come back finally, and they could give us newer versions of older cards with a different take on them. So I can't wait to see what they've done with something like Modern Horizons 3. I think it'll have a lot going for it. Even if the price is going to be a negative catch-on, it really depends on the cards they put in. If they give us something exciting, it's not going to matter. If they give us cards that can be played across multiple formats, the price isn't going to stop people from buying it. We've learned that already. We know that with product lines they've done in the past, that if the cards are good enough, players are going to dive in and pay the price. Regardless if people individually may choose not to, enough players will that these cards flood the market, making them available to everybody. Can't wait to see it. I want to see what they do with this. I wonder if they'll add fetch lands back in. If they add the polluted delta fetch lands in to bring those prices down and add that excitement to the set. So we'll see. Yeah, this one's got me a little bit excited. Now, let's go on to our next one. And this is the one I'm most excited for. This is the one I just want to take a moment, take a breath, and say, this is the one. Okay? Bloomburrow has a lot of ideas in there, at least that I think are in there. When I see the set and I saw the mouse, right, I'm looking at saying, okay, anamorphic animals that are alive. They all have tools and equipment. That remind me of things like The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. The 1982 movie, The Secret of Nim. Remember The Secret of Nim? Things like the Dark Crystal, Watership Down. Depending on how they've done this kind of fairy tale setting, it could be ultra violent like some of these worlds have been, but it also could be a really kind of charming little thing like they talked about where it's like, hey, it's like little kingdoms of little critters and animals. But now pause for a moment. Bloomburrow's coming. a lot of animals involved. Well, have you thought about Swarm Yard? That's that land that regenerates like rats and all that stuff. So how much of those lands going to spike? Pardon me. When you think about things like that, squirrels, squirrels! Are we thinking Deranged Hermit is going to start selling? Are we going to have a lot of sales of Deranged Hermit now? Because chances are squirrels, like we've just seen in the image, there'll be more squirrels. So those reserve list cards, or hard to get cards that aren't reserve list but haven't been reprinted, like the Swarm Yard, when you look at those cards, they're going to go up in value. So if you're a player who's watching this video this late in, there's potential there to get if you're thinking about building some of these decks, buy those cards now. Buy your Deranged Hermit for 25, 30 bucks. Used to be as high as, what, 150? Buy it while it's cheap, because there will be a buyout. There'll be a run on speculators and players wanting to get these cards. There probably already is. At the time of this video, I did see an increase in sales on those cards, but I'm sure there's still some available at this point. And we've seen what happens with Soldevi, Digger, Mind Over Matter. Reserve list cards that aren't coming back that can connect with new deck ideas. Even Yavimaya Hollow, where you can regenerate target creatures, Swarm Yard, regenerate certain creature cards, card types. That's a lot of value. Siri and Ren Siri, the dog one with the dog and cat one from that one set. Dogs and cats that interconnect may go up in value based on what they give us in this world. There's a lot going on there, and if you start looking in to where the potential is for some of these cards, you might want to buy them now. Because if these cards do start connecting later, it's too late. The buyouts will have already happened by the time you see the spoilers. People will be sitting there already buying them out. So it's something to keep in mind for any old reserve list card that's really cheap right now, as well as even cards like, if you look at Narnia, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe type thing, they even had Minotaurs. I've always joked about Didgeridoo going on to bigger and better things because you can just put Minotaurs in play. What happens if this world has those creatures in it? It said there's no humans. It doesn't say there's not satyrs. It didn't say there's not minotaurs. It didn't say we have walking jungle cat warriors and stuff. We don't know. They're all based on their original sizes, though. So you could have mammoths for Elephant Graveyard. There's a lot of cards that can connect. And the idea of this whole fairy tale, it really grabbed me. The excitement for a world like this, when I look at those old movies and TV shows I've seen and had that nostalgic kind of love for, this is the set that I think everyone's going to be talking about. This is the set where I think the excitement is just going to be crazy. Because it also reminds me of Eldraine, right? It reminds me of Throne of Eldraine, that kind of theme to it. So I'm super excited. It won't be with the fairies, obviously, although those could be there. It is going to be something special, I think. I think they really touched on something here. And I think, I'm looking at the backdrop again. I'm sorry, guys. I think this is just going to be crazy. I think it's going to be amazing. Now, our next set we're talking about is Outlaws at Thunder Junction. And in this plane of existence, they basically gave us a rundown that it's all villains. It's all kinds of evil people from across the multiverse who are starting to, converge on this particular plane of existence, okay? Now, they also touched on 2026 being a major event, kind of like War of the Spark, kind of like, global event type thing that affects the multiverse. Maybe all the villains are getting together was my thought. Maybe all these villains from across the multiverse are joining together under one central leader to try to take over the multiverse as a whole bunch of villains. I'll be very curious to see how they play this out, but I want to see what mechanics they add to the game because I think there'll be something unique about this that will draw people in. So I'm curious to see. Now, the last one we have to discuss, and again, another really exciting one. This is Dustmorn, the House of Horror. It's an entire plane of existence basically built into a house. Okay, so you can imagine it's like pocket universes inside of it, and it's all based on horror themes. I know Innistrad and stuff kind of got a bad rap on the Crimson Vow sets and stuff where, it didn't really fit very well with the theme of how they'd done it in the past. I think this is actually a way of whetting people's appetite for horror again. Like truly scary stuff I think will be in this set. And I think that'll play on a whole bunch of cards like zombies, vampires, werewolves. So if you're thinking of building with any of these type of card mechanics and creature types, you might want to start looking. I will do some videos on this, but you'll want to start looking at the potential of which cards can't get reprinted and may really jump in value, because Wizards of the Coast has proved, they didn't give a sliver hive, that they like to interconnect these cards so they have reprint value later on. So I will try to get you guys some ideas of cards going forward that may jump up in value in case you want to buy any of them ahead of the curve before their prices really jump up. And of course, here at the end, there's a couple things I want to mention. The Beyond boosters. Beyond boosters is like going to be central theme type things, but there's going to be reprint cards with a couple of new cards. Guys, it's just a new way of Wizards of the Coast testing the waters. I'm not going to say they're bad or good until I see the actual makeup of the cards. I'll touch on that later on. And then, of course, I want to mention that they're doing like the Assassin's Creed type thing as well. in those. And depending on how they do them, it could be really exciting. I've just got to see it play out. So I can't really give a educated opinion until I really know the cost, the breakdown, the makeup of the cards inside. It looks like it's going to be a great year, guys. There's a lot of exciting stuff going on that I'm pretty excited for. Now, I gotta say, Bloomburrow is definitely the one that I am most like just gung-ho for. Never-ending story type stuff comes to my mind. Remember Never-ending Story, Falcor and stuff? This just touches on my childhood in so many ways that I'm sitting there going, there's so many aspects I'm looking forward to seeing how they do it. It so reminds me of Eldraine, the whole fairy tale type thing. So it's going to be awesome, guys. We're in for an exciting year. I want to know what you guys are thinking. What parts were you most excited for? Did I miss information you wanted to know about for maybe a future video? Drop those comments in the comments section. Let's get this party talking, because before we know it, we're going to end off the year. We got 2 more sets to go, and then 2024 is going to be here and a whole new round of excitement. Let's just see how great it's going to be. Looking forward to seeing your comments in the comment section. Have a great day. Don't forget to bring a friend to Magic. It's such an amazing game. As we end off the video today, I want to say a big shout out and thank you to all the fantastic patrons and YouTube membership members I have supporting the content I create each and every day. Without their support, videos like this would not be happening. So to each and every one of you, thanks again. Well, here we are at the end. The Ramble Jamble has begun, and thanks a lot for attending. Glad to see you can sit down in the back. Thanks. Yeah, right there. Yep. No, don't drop the popcorn. All good. Thanks. So Bloomburrow, to me, is the one that I'm most excited about. I had a hard time in this video not looking at the backdrop image I have on the computer screens. I kept looking at it. I can't help it, guys. I get so excited when sets like this come along. The House of Horror could be very creepy. It reminded me of things like anyway, Evil Dead movies. I can think of so many things now. I got to start lining up cards that I want to get my hands on, because I think these are some things I can build into Commander and get ahead of the curve by buying some expensive cards. When I mention things like Deranged Hermit, I'm sure people have already started buying them. By the time you guys watch this video, I'd already start doing counts. I'm already looking ahead. Swarm Yard, I know it's a reprintable card, but it might be something they don't put in card sets like this, so they can add it to future sets as a reprint. Keep that stuff in mind, man. Regeneration, things like that don't come around anymore, can really ticker up the price on stuff. So either way, a lot of excitement. Yavimaya Hollow, same thing. So many cards. So much fun. Dogs and cats. Oh, anyway, awesome. Looking forward to seeing you guys say in the comment section. Let's drop a Necronomicon inside that thing so we know we are all watching this late in the video, because this is a long one today. Anyway, have a great one. See you guys soon.